Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey, everybody, it's wow. I'm stuck. I'm all wound up because I'm happy. This has never happened.
Do you want me just to do your part?
Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you are listening to our show. It's a Saturday for me and Tony, and as well for our guest. We're crossing the great divide in order to have this gentle person on.
Yes.
Yes, we're very excited about
we're
this.
We're oceans apart.
Oceans apart, some may say. Guest, who are you?
I'm Marc from SoundLad Liverpool.
Okay, and so SoundLad Liverpool, I have to say it like slow like that so that everybody can
You sound like an American.
We don't sound like that. Anyways, SoundLad Liverpool. Go to Instagram and the web and all that stuff. Where should they go to find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, and that's about it, actually.
Okay, just go to Instagram because that's about it, actually.
There's a website, but I mean, that's just, Instagram's where it's at, like.
Yes. Now, your website is very handy because it does explain exactly what the thing that we're going to talk about does.
As well as some other things
that
are manufactured.
Indeed. So SoundLad Liverpool, go check that out so that you are well informed as we are talking amongst ourselves, with you included. Pretend you're here. There's a seat right next to Tony. Imagine yourself.
Welcome.
Give a little bit of distance from Tony, not too close, and just imagine you're here. That's the way that we think of you.
You going to finish that?
That's accurate. Yeah. No, I was just actually talking to Tony about how he's ruining my jokes because Tony, and I'm really actually very happy about this because I want him to stick around for a long, long time. I want my friend to be here at least as long as I am. And he's
that's not very long.
Wow.
I'm firing you.
Yeah, okay. Yes. I mean on Earth.
Oh, on Earth.
Yeah. So Tony's gone through a bit of a metamorphosis. Yes. He was a giant slug, and now
that's not entirely
and now
true.
he's one of those annoying moths. No, I'm just kidding.
Moth.
You had a chrysalis.
Yes.
A bit of a chrysalis.
I had a chrysalis.
Yes. Yes. There's a big Tony suit somewhere in your house that you've unzipped and stepped out of, and it looks good on you, my friend.
Well, thank you, Todd.
You're just ruining my jokes.
Yes.
All the funny has just left the building. Thanks a lot.
Well, I'm still the same old guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I forgot about that part. All right. We're going to have a great time with Marc. He sent us an awesome pedal. It's called the Sketchy, and it is, I'm sure you've seen it, it is based off of
an Etch-a-Sketch.
An Etch-a-Sketch, which actually, I don't know if
that probably
the kids
that was around when I
is.
was a kid.
Me too.
Yeah.
So it works and looks pretty much just like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Do you want to explain what an Etch-a-Sketch is?
No, we'll do that later. They can do recon. They can say, "Hey, ChatGPT, what's an Etch-a-Sketch?"
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We have a couple of announcements real quick. Let's see here.
What are we announcing?
Do you have any announcements, Marc?
Yeah, I've got a new product coming out. The photos have just come in today, so I'm thinking I may as well just roll with it. But once we're done here, I'm probably going to put on Instagram about
oh, beautiful,
about a new product. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that in the segment.
Yeah, we'll save that for that.
Yes.
Okay, so anyways, we're going to do. Remember how we did the Vox speaker shootout?
Vox speaker shootout. I remember that.
We had the Vox AC30 S1, so it's a single speaker, and we did all the different speakers to find out which one worked the best in it. The one that I went with was the Amperion VSOP.
Yes.
It's an Alnico speaker, and I really like the way it sounds. I recently, well, maybe not recently, a while ago, I got an AC30 2x12, and that has greenbacks in it. And I wanted to give the sound a little bit more dimension. So I said, I called up my good friend John Sanchez and I said, hey, what do you think about doing this? So we're going to do a little, I'm going to do a vid about that. Tony, you may or may not be here. It depends on if, what you have going on that day.
Yeah.
But we're going to put it in the 212 because I think that's a whole different thing.
That's a good blend.
I think it's going to sound fantastic.
A Dr. Z Best cabinet 212, and I have an Alnico Gold and a greenback in that.
Yes,
and I think you get the best of both worlds out of that. So I think you're going to be real happy.
I hope so.
Now,
yes,
if you use that live, you're going to have to decide whether you want to mic one.
2 mics.
Yeah, 2 mics.
I'm going to make the sound guy work.
Okay.
Yeah, because you need both. Because that's the whole point. You make your sound so much more dynamic.
Well, you could use one mic if you back the mic.
Yeah, but then you're in the middle, and that's dumb, Tony. Oh, you know what? By the way, speaking of that, anyway, so that we're actually we'll have a YouTube demo up of that in the very near future because I want to actually start playing that as soon as I can with my band. Mm-hmm. I recently showed a movie with my daughter, my middle daughter, Jane.
Are we still on announcements?
We love movies. I'm kind of moving past that a little bit. I'm just sharing a little bit. And this is an old one, and it's like the best, worst movie maybe ever, Megaforce. I don't know if everybody remembers Megaforce out there. When you see the little vehicles, you'll be like, "Oh, wait a minute." Okay, this was out in 1982, and it was terrible. The same guy that produced The Godfather, they made a whole movie about the actual production of The Godfather. It came out like about 2 years ago or whatever. He made this movie too. And I think they had a $20 million budget, and they grossed $3 million. It was a turkey, but it's a cult classic. And we just kind of said a line that made me think of that. This was where we paused the movie and just couldn't stop laughing. One of the characters says it's Dallas. Dallas is like the sidekick guy of the main dude. The main dude is Ace Hunter. Okay, so this is, imagine Mad Max and Xanadu and a giant bowl of cocaine. Okay, that's basically what this movie is, right? Maybe a little bit of Star Trek when they land on Earth. Okay, Dallas. Well, I know how you feel, and I've been there myself. Let me see. One time before, I made a jump into Da Nang. An old buddy of mine told me something that made me feel a whole lot better. Ace Hunter says, What? What did he tell you to do? Dallas, well, he said, you love him in blue and you love him in red, but most of all, you love him in blue. Ace Hunter, that's totally inapplicable to anything that's going on here, and it's dumb. Who told you that? Dallas, you did. Ace Hunter, but it's very wise, very wise. Like, how can you not watch a movie where that's the dialogue? Give me a break.
Oh boy,
it is. Yeah, they walk. They all wearing they're like warriors, but they are in spandex suits. And Dallas is one of he was an actual warrior in the Warriors movie.
Warrior,
and
come out and play.
Right, and Ace Hunter was the guy with glasses who visits the castle in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh.
Banks. I think his name's Brian Banks or something like that.
The guy, the character.
Yeah. Anyways, that
yes.
guy. It's if you haven't seen this movie, if you're not aware of this movie, and I'm speaking to you, Marc, because this is 100% pure, uncut, unadulterated, 1982 American excess at its best.
Nice.
It sounds great.
It is ridiculous. They probably show that movie at some of those weddings out there and where you live. Anyways, okay. Well, that was exciting.
So what was the
That was
announcement?
unexpected. That we're doing the demo for the speaker.
Oh, the speaker.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. You went off track.
I did. Well, because we were like, that's,
Then you're not allowed to talk
I
about
said
your music
that's-
world this week.
I said that's
I'm cutting
dumb.
you out of
I
there.
said that's dumb, and then I was like, oh wait, the quote.
Oh, that's wise.
Yes.
Very wise.
Yes, very. See, it works. I love it. Okay, let's get into what's going on in our music world this week. Oh, and thank you so much to John Sanchez from Empyrean Amps and Warehouse Guitar Speakers. You demand. Okay, what's going on in our music world this week? We're going to start off with Tanya Bolonsky, a.k.a. The Svelte Patty Melt.
Svelte Patty Melt. Now that I can go with.
Okay, go.
So I have been perusing this week the latest issue of Vintage Guitar Magazine. This is the July 2025 magazine issue. And I was pleased to note that a friend of the show, and
I've only ever seen those magazines at your house in the bathroom. Did you bring that from the bathroom? That's gross.
No, this is the one I got at the guitar show. So our good friend and Vox and Rickenbacker expert and Gretsch expert,
Andy Babiuk,
is featured in a fantastic article. It talks about him with the Chesterfield Kings and the Empty Hearts and all the cool
and the
stuff.
passing of Clem.
Yeah, Clem Burke. But it's really cool. Andy has a great store in Rochester, New York, called Andy Babiuk's Fab Gear. So if you're in the Rochester area, make sure you check that out. But it's a great article. It gives a lot of background info and things that he's up to and things
That's
that
a
he has planned.
destination shop. That place looks amazing.
Yeah, it's if
So if you're
you
not in Rochester, get there.
yeah, just take 90 across and you'll be there in a heartbeat. And secondly, in the same issue on the back cover is an ad for Norman's Rare Guitars documentary, which I happen to watch.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, it's chock full of guitar stars, if you will. And they talk about the history of Norm getting started in the 70s, really. Mm-hmm. And he's was a musician in a band, in bands, opened over for some great bands, and he was selling guitars on the side just to generate a little extra dough, and it turned into a legendary business. So if you get a chance, I saw it on Netflix. I'm sure it's
I'm about
streaming.
halfway through it.
Yeah, really, takes you that long? Or you have it on slow play?
I had to stop and watch the Blacklist for a little bit.
Oh.
I love James Spader. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. See, you know.
So anyhow,
Spade,
that was that's what I've been doing this week.
I like the fact that he's watching the Blacklist too.
Stargate.
Oh, Stargate.
I'm always here for James Spader, to be honest, and I have seen the Blacklist. I think like the first 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it's
start getting a little. Basically, the only reason to watch it at this point is just to watch James Spader say his little quippy things. That's the only reason I watch it, because the plot is so wackadoodle. It's just crazy. Anyway,
Reason enough, though. Reason enough.
I agree. Okay, let's see, Mark. What's going on in your music world this week?
Yeah, so I've like you say, I've got this new product coming out, but for me, I've just done my first guitar show, pedal show, a couple of weeks ago at the Leeds Pedal Show, and it was my first one, and it was great. Just had a great time, met a lot of people. It's fantastic.
What's a turnout for something like that? Like is it 50 people? Is it 5,000?
There was loads, I was busy all day, so because it was my first one, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I was building the boards, the demo board for people to play on, and I built 2 because I thought, well, if somebody's there and they're playing and somebody else comes along and whatever, and then I started speaking to the lads who go to these things very often, and they were like, you don't really need to, but I needed to. Like there was just people coming in all the time. There's loads of nice people. I had some free Plex out. I've just had some Plex made as well, just some little custom SoundLad ones, and people were taking the Plex, playing the pedals, and just chatting to them. It's like it was 5 hours, and I'd say I must have spoke to about 100 people, and they were just the ones that stopped and talked to me.
That's
Nice.
awesome. So
Yeah.
in Liverpudlian is load. I'm assuming loads is kind of like that. There's a lot, there's loads, and there's a ton. kind of like there's a
Yeah,
couple,
and then there's
a few, and several.
Yeah, and then there's another way after ton. Like, so you can take your curse word and put that before ton. That means more than ton. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, what I'm hoping is somehow magically when I get there, that I think Joe's kind of trying to put together a little bit of something with some people in the the pedal community and whatnot to have a little get together. I'm really, really hoping that's going to happen.
Does Joe know about this?
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah, it's his idea. I think it was his wife's idea.
Oh,
Yeah, she's awesome. I haven't met her yet, but she's awesome.
nice.
Yeah. Okay.
As for me,
Yes.
Todd,
Tony.
no,
Me.
you,
Todd.
you.
Hi.
Hi.
Me, sir? You, sir?
As for you, Todd.
Yes. All right. I had an awesome time with my man Billy Spitfire
Oh.
and my buddy Marc DeCenzo. He was one of the first people that really kind of helped us get on our technical legs here, and he's a very good friend of mine. We went to go see Queens of the Stone Age, and it was a gorgeous summer day. The sun was out. We're in a small amphitheater here, and it was just fantastic.
Was it an outdoor show?
Outdoor show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, threatening rain, but the sun kept it back, and it was really good. And the Kills opened up for them.
Do I know them?
The Kills, the two-man. It's a guy and a girl. And we were just commenting on the gear like all night long.
Oh yeah.
But interesting, the guitar player from the Kills was playing one of those new Jack White amps. And he kind of is not unlike Jack White. His guitar has to do an awful lot of work to carry the sound of a full band with two people. So we were just checking out his gear. It looked like he was playing a couple of really early Hagstroms. We're trying to figure out what they were, but we got to dig. That was the topic of conversation during the Kills. Like, well, look at all this gear they got back there, and what is he playing? The Queens of the Stone Age just absolutely just murdered it. It was a great show. I love those guys. That was it. I had a really great rock and roll time. So there.
Todd,
I do.
let's just say you're at a pedal show in Leeds,
All right.
and you brought all your pedals.
Yes.
What do you really need so you can demo those pedals?
A hoodie and a mask.
A hoodie and a mask.
I don't know. That's what the kids roaming the streets are wearing. So.
Well, let's just say you want to connect these pedals together.
Yes.
How would you do that?
Oh, that Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Yes.
You should have been more specific.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Tour Gear Designs patch cables will get the job done. Loads of lengths, loads of orientations, and by orientations we mean
S-shaped, and C-shaped.
right for top mount to side mount, or vice versa, or just top to top.
Yeah.
And they will save you a lot of room. Actually, this was I can't believe how applicable this was, because Eventide sent us a Riptide vibe unit, and the in and the out are right next to each other.
Yes.
And they are close. I put in my Tour Gear Designs patch cables, and they fit perfectly. If those were those big unwieldy pancake jacks,
No go.
you would have a big problem. I don't understand how they would even fit in there.
You'd have to use straight cables.
So look, don't be one of those people. Get yourself some of these Tour Gear Designs patch cables. Your life will be
Where do you
much
get
better.
them?
Go to tourgeardesigns.com, and you're going to put all of them into your thing. Hit purchase, but don't worry. You don't have to pay for them yet. You're going to get the coupon code box.
You know what I'd put in there? The Guitar Knobs, all lowercase, all one word.
And you're going to save 15%.
15%.
While it lasts. All right. Thank you to Tour Gear for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor.
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the Floor. All right, Marc from SoundLad Liverpool. What's your 4 on the floor?
Right, so I'll go through the 4, and then individually. Is that all right?
Sure, you can do it. No. Just do them individually.
Just do one at a time.
Yeah,
Individually. All right. Okay. We'll build the
Tease it.
suspense. Right. Okay.
Yes.
So first thing. Right. Okay. So the parameters. Am I allowed? Like what am I allowed? So I've got a guitar and an amp. I've got the pedals. Am I allowed a tuner?
Well, I suppose so. You're a bass player, right?
Well, yeah, but I play guitar as well.
Okay.
So
Well, then skip the
before
tuner and give us the
guitar.
good stuff, baby.
Is a looper included, or does that have to be included within the
You
floor
can
as well?
use a looper. That's we don't not. I don't think we've ever had a looper on. Tell us about your
What?
looper.
Right. Well, that's the last one. Right. We'll get to that then. So I've got 4 then. So I've got 4. Right. So first one, the Germanium 4 Big Muff. Just straight up for me, because you need that guitar conditioning, that signal conditioning at the beginning, and then you drive and all that kind of business.
This is the Electro Harmonics Big Muff.
That's it. It's specifically the Germanium 4 edition, which isn't a Big Muff. It says Big Muff on the front of it, but it's a 2-in-1, and on one side you've got an overdrive, on the other side you've got a distortion. And what you can do on the overdrive, it's kind of based around the Germanium OD overdrive, as far as I can tell. I haven't really looked at the schematics, but it's got a gain, a bias, a tone, and a volume on the overdrive side. And then on the distortion side, you've got gain, bias, volts, and volume. So it's an odd one, and you can stack them. It's overdrive into distortion. You can't change them. It's EHX. They're keeping it simple there. And actually, the Germanium aspect of it inside is, it says NKT 275s on it, but the magic transistor. But they're actually, from what I can tell, it's op amp drive, but they're in the they're in the effects loop. So they're using one half of an NKT 275 as a PN junction, like as a diode. So they got these NKT 275s in, and they don't market the fact they've got them in. So I don't know if they're real or not. And they're just using one half of each of them as a diode. So it's technically it's odd, but playing into it, it's my standard actually. The overdrive is really nice. It does what I want it to do with the signal. You can have it really light. You can mess with the bias a little bit. The tone's just a treble control, which I'm always happy with that. I never really, the bass player, sound engineer, guitarist, I never really like messing with the mid range too much, because the sound engineer he puts you in your place and then he goes, right, there you are. And then the worst thing, because I spent most of my career as a sound engineer, the worst thing is for a guitar, for me, is when a guitarist comes in, he steps on a pedal, and then his mid-range shifts all over the place, and you've banded him off for that not to happen. So I don't really like pedals with tone stacks in them and that kind of business, and this doesn't have that at all. And then in the distortion side, it's gain, bias, volts, and volume. So you can do some stuff there, in terms of gating it, and get some kind of spitty kind of sounds. You can get full throated distortion. I don't know why it says Big Muff on the front. I think that was just to sell the unit, maybe.
Yeah,
Possibly.
It's not at all. It's not even based around the op amp Big Muff whatsoever. It's a totally different thing, and I think it's one of these hidden. I would say hidden gems, but I've loved it for years. This thing, I've had it about 20 years, I'd say, something like that. Maybe 15 or something.
Wow.
and you won't break the bank either.
No.
I think I got it secondhand for about 50 quid, but I think even new they're about 130.
Yeah.
For a 2-in-1 drive, that's absolutely belted, to be honest.
We're seeing them under 100 here, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
Nice. What's number 2?
Number 2, well, you see, this is the thing again, right? Is that I'm not really a big fan of guitars as guitars. I'm not really a massive guitar head, and that's the only thing I'm interested in. So for me, I'm gonna chuck a Mel 9 after that as well.
All right.
Because and this is where the looper comes into it. Because what I want to do, if I'm sitting with my guitar and that, I just want to be making different little compositions and mixing them together and stuff. So the Mel 9. It's got that flute setting 4, which gives you that Strawberry Fields Forever kind of sound.
Yeah, wasn't this this was one of Jared's favorite pedals, wasn't it?
Yeah, he loves a Mel9.
Yeah.
He bought 2 of them.
Yeah, that's right.
Seriously, but that's very Jared.
Yeah.
Who's Jared?
Oh,
well, yeah, Jared he was my first real co-host. But the problem is he moved to Nashville to go work for Gibson. So his it's just tougher for him to come on the show anymore. So, but we miss you, Jared. We really do. And that's
Jared,
that's who you hear on these little sound effects here.
Yeah, we have
man of
digitized them.
Man of taste, clearly, Jared. Well done, lad.
Yeah.
The Mel 9 there. It's just a great thing. And I remember seeing an advert for it when it first came out, and looking at it and just thinking, I need that in my life.
Yeah.
I love that. Like that. What's the Mellotron? Is it?
Yes.
This kind of. Love that sound. I love the timbre. Some of the sounds. The saxophone's great for like you can use your guitar to layer like false sax kind of sounds. It doesn't sound like a sax, and it's got a weird like ramping and weird dynamics. But if you play into it and you get to know it, it's just some really unique stuff you can do with it. And the choir bits, and really nice for recording with. To keep myself interested. If you're just going to give me 4 pedals, like I need that.
That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
I have not played that. I've played it like at shows and stuff where it's like, you go see what it does, but through your own natural rig with drive and all that stuff. I bet that actually does sound pretty cool. We actually at NAMM, 5 years ago, something like that. We met up with the son of the man who invented the Mellotron.
Oh yeah.
And he had like an OG Mellotron there with the cover off, so you could see all the working
moving,
tapes and everything. It was really cool.
Just a really nice concept, record the violin playing an A, for example, put it on tape, and then when you press the A, it starts up a tape machine. So this is where you get this weird ramping where like the rotors are ramping up to speed. They don't kick in instantly.
Yeah.
So, and this is where the sound comes from, and that weird like tape sound that's coming back off it, and it's just fantastic. I mean,
it reminds me of like a bellows organ, with the foot pedals where you got the old organs where you got like it's like a sewing machine underneath and a piano on top.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, cool. How about number 3?
Number 3, yeah. So, Holy Grail Plus. It's such a straight EHX.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you're going EH all the way.
That's it. I don't really mess around too much. So the Holy Grail Plus, yeah, because it's got flurb on it. I love the spring, the hole in the room. They're good for mixing, and they're good for like creating different atmospheres. And if you're going to be layering stuff up, really nice, to be able to space things out that way and set the kind of in the image, the stereo image as you're working in it. It's nice to be able to set things with a longer tail so it sits back in a little mix a little bit. Not the it'd be better if I had a bit of a tone control on it for the mixing, but then the flurb bit, you can just set the blend to like full, but the amount right the way down. You just get this mad flanger kind of effect that's just works really nicely with the Mel 9 and some drives. And I love flurb. I think the first time I came across one, it was the original Holy Grail, like the blue and silver one. Mm-hmm. And I think it was when I first moved to Liverpool, because I'm not actually from Liverpool. As anyone from Liverpool will listen to me now and go, lad, wherever are you from? And Liverpool's the only place in the world where people don't think I'm from Liverpool. It's an odd one.
Where are you from?
So I'm from what Ken Dodd refers to as one of the lost tribes of Liverpool, which is a town on the edge of Cheshire called Runcorn. And basically what they did was when they were building Liverpool city centre, they took all the Scouse dock workers and everyone who lived there and said to them, we're knocking your houses down. We've built you a lovely 2 up, 2 down with a front and back garden in Cheshire, so you're going to go and live there. So everyone in that town is from Liverpool. But yeah, and so we've got the accent, but we've got like the 60s accent because that's when they did it. So everyone from Runcorn's got like the hello, how are we doing kind of the 60s accent. Whereas when you listen to a modern like Scouse, it's like, all right, lad, how's it going? We don't really do that one. So people think when they're from Liverpool, they always think that I'm either from Woolton, which is a really posh area of Liverpool, or they're just looking at me like, what are you? So when I first moved here, because this was the city, you got to come home at some point. So I had I lived in a house with a bunch of musicians, and one of them had this Holy Grail Plus, and I remember just sticking flurb on and just maxing it out and just for like hours on end, just going, this is great. Never heard anything like it.
And you fell in love and have been in love ever since.
I just love it, yeah. And I actually got this one, the Holy Grail Plus. It was a band called Real Terms, and I was working as an engineer in a venue. And he just really liked what I'd done with their sound, I think. Because he just came over and he just gave it to me. He went, "Here you go, mate. That's for you." I said, "Thanks." And I don't know why he gave me it to this day. Like, but he did. So I thought I must have done a good job.
We'll
He
call
knew
it
you needed it.
divine intervention.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I get it. Holy Grail. Got it. Okay. I'm tracking with you guys.
How about number 4?
Yeah, so number 4 is where it is. So it's got to be the looper at the end, because if I'm going to sit around, I want to be playing with like different layers of songs, because I really like writing songs and writing stuff. So like when I'm playing guitar, I'm not really, like I say, I'm not really about the guitar. I'm about the instrumentation as a whole kind of thing. And so if I'm sat with a guitar and I've got 4 pedals, I want the looper at the end, and the one I know how to use. Sometimes I think the best gear is the one that you're used to and the one you know how to use.
Yeah.
Like, I've had the same set of headphones for like 15, 20 years, and I get really annoyed when I have to like replace the drivers on them or something. Because I like to be like well calibrated, you know. So
Please tell me you have the 450,000.
The EHX? No, I've there wasn't one of them lying around. That's quite like prestige gear. That's nice. That's nice. You're joking, aren't you? You can't spill beer on that. You'd cry. No, I've got the Ditto X2.
Oh yeah, okay. The Ditto. All right, so we're out of. I see. I went straight to EHX for this.
Yeah, so I'm actually not like brand loyal either. I think I was when I was younger. I was like very much a Boss kid. You had 2 options when I was a kid. You either liked Boss or you liked Electro Harmonics.
Yeah,
and it was one or the other.
I thought you were gonna say you either liked Boss or you liked your amp. That's it. No pedals.
Yeah, well, that was me basically, because I was missold my first couple of pedals, and so I hated them. And I just thought, why am I doing this when you got a good amp? Like, why bother?
Yeah.
But when I did get pedals, like firstly, yeah, it was Boss, and I liked the compact. I don't know. There's just something about them. Was the EHX things are a bit wacky and a bit like, oh, I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing, you know. And as I get a bit older, I kind of strayed across into EHX, but I'm not like brand loyal. I think TC do some great stuff, like especially for like modulations, you know, like them the reverb and the delay, the red and the blue one, the Hall of Fame, stuff like that. You can't. They did it first. You can't even get close. Nobody could get close for a while. So when it came to getting a looper, I just knew TC were like they were on it with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, they killed it with the Ditto for sure.
It was everywhere, and it was there. And if you needed another one and you were out and about, you could go in a shop and there it was.
Yeah.
Like and it was the best one. It was the cleanest. It was you don't want it messing with anything, the looper, really, do you? You just. I mean, because the problem is, you'd go digital because tape's unpredictable. So, like, why get a looper that's unpredictable? You just want it clean and straight up. And the TC Ditto, like, for, I think it was £100 or something at the time. Just, you can't argue with it. You can't argue with that at all.
Huh.
But if I can have a looper, if I can have one of them anyway, then it's between that and the instant lo-fi junkie. Because if I'm either going clean and playing back on myself, or I'm going totally off the scale, and I want it to be really like atmospheric and characterful, you know. So yeah, but if I had to call it, I'm probably going to want to sit and play on my own and do some stuff. So probably the Ditto X2, you know.
Got it. All right. Woo, doggies, that was a good one.
Yeah,
I don't think any of those have been on our 4 on the floor.
You joking?
No, I don't think they have.
Seriously.
What?
You know, one of the things that I kind of regret is that when we did the first, I think up to almost, I think it must have been like 250 episodes or something like that. We're at like 420 something right now. I can't remember which one it's going to be.
Congratulations.
And we would take the 4 on the floor, and I would actually do a blog on it. And, you know, just like a magazine article with each of the pedals and what quotes from what our guest said and everything. And it just, that alone took so much time out of like, in addition to the podcast, in addition to my full-time job, in addition to my band, in addition to my family and everything, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. And I'm bummed because we ended up with this incredible list of data that was just phenomenal. And I should find somebody to just go through the last 200 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
And at least just log what they are. I should get one of my kids to do that.
Yeah, we should do that because we did a tabulation.
To do that? Is Rupert for hired to do that?
Rue. He's
Do not call him Rupert.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's Rue and Eddie. There's Rue and Eddie. Yeah.
Tommy Knuckles. Sorry.
He doesn't even get called Rue when he's in trouble. You know, he doesn't even get called Rupert when he's in trouble. Like, it's more of a formality. You know, and what I've done because I'm from, because we're from this area, we're obviously from the north. You know, I've given him an opportunity to move to London if he wants to. By giving him a proper name. If he wants it.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like the Johnny Cash song.
Yes, indeed.
A boy named Sue. Makes you tough.
Yes.
A lad in Liverpool called Rupert will make it tough, absolutely. You don't have to deal.
Yeah. Well, that's better than Clancy, I suppose.
Clancy as a first name?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Clancy was isn't that like an Irish thing, Clancy?
That sounds more possibly Irish. Yeah.
Anyways, what do we know? Yeah. We're just here in the middle of a big giant block of land. Anyways, and from those who don't know where we're from, we're in the middle of Ohio right now, everybody.
Beautiful Columbus, Ohio.
Yes. Well, that was a lovely 4 on the floor. I appreciate you doing that with us. I had just pulled up a picture of you to show Tony, so we have an idea of what the mouth, nose, eyes, beard, and hair look like as to match the voice.
I like the racing stripes.
Yeah, and you are way slimmer than you sound. No, I'm just kidding.
You're too skinny to be that funny, lad.
I wanted to I love the your logo and the 3 stripes. I just think like that is it's kind of a throwback look in a weird way. Like Tony, I don't know if you felt like that. Did you?
Yeah, I mean it feels like something that would have been.
Yeah, it's kind of like 80s sportwear almost.
Yeah. Yes. 70s sportwear, maybe.
70s, late 70s, early 80s sportwear. How about that?
Yes. We'll agree to disagree.
Good. Were we right?
I mean, you know everything you need to know about me now, don't you? That's it.
Excellent. All right. You just wedge one of those polos right in the middle of all your Fred Perrys, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We are going to now talk to Marc about what he actually does instead of all this jowling we've been doing. We're going to get really serious here. You sent us the Sketchy. Mm-hmm. This is a very serious pedal too. This Sketchy is a tremolo,
yes.
And this clocks in what, like 2.5 pounds, maybe 2 pounds.
Yeah,
probably about 2 pounds. It's a hefty pedal.
Yeah,
you could get into a bake shop or something with that if you threw it through the window for sure. And it is so unique that it's impossible to ignore. This is based off of a very, very famous children's toy called the Etch-a-Sketch, which about probably half of us are saying, nodding our heads this way, and the other half are shrugging.
Oh.
Yes. So we're going to find out all about this. And he also has a couple other pedals that he's made, by the way, which have been on our 4 on the floor in the past a couple times. A few people have thrown out the Scran and their Hungry Beaver.
Yes.
Yes. So we knew about SoundLad before the Sketchy. We just didn't know you yet. So here we are. Okay. So first off, tell us about the Sketchy. Then we're going to get in a little bit of your backstory. And then we're going to get into, you can tell us about the other 2 pedals, okay?
Yeah, man.
How about that? All right. Sketchy, go.
Yeah, so you're saying it's based on the Etch-a-Sketch. It kind of looks like an Etch-a-Sketch.
Very much so.
Yes, and that was, to be honest, like I've got this kind of design thing where I didn't set out to make that at all. I wanted to design something like a tremolo where you could change the waveform that you were working with, because I noticed a lot of people had like the different, you can, like a waveform selector.
Yeah,
and,
rotary dial selector kind of thing.
Stuff like that, yeah. And I thought, wouldn't it be great if you could just draw your own? And then so once I'd kind of pieced together, you're going to draw something in 2D, and guitar pedals have got knobs. So you need to use knobs to draw something in 2D. Then everything else just fell into place, because that's an Etch-a-Sketch. That's what it does. So then I had to go through. Etch-a-Sketch is owned by Spin Master. And Spin Master own Paw Patrol, Meccano, Rubik's Cube, Etch-a-Sketch. They own a lot of like classic IPs. So I had to go through all of that, read everything they've ever done, basically, and then just try and find a route through it. Like, you don't have Aldi over there, I don't think. Do you have Aldi?
Oh yeah,
The German supermarket.
yeah, supermarkets. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you know they make when they make like a Mars bar or something, it's called like Titan instead of Mars, and it looks exactly the same. Yeah,
We don't call it Aldi here, we call it Aldi.
yeah. So like you've got to get through. They've got a real nice knack of like taking stuff and getting through. So yeah, so I had to like plot my path through their IP basically. And so what you see there is me trying to it come out as an Etch-a-Sketch, just because I was trying to draw my own waveform using knobs. But essentially the goal was just to get to a tremolo. And I wanted to do the harmonic tremolo as well, because I thought, wouldn't it be great if you could have like a different waveform for the different aspects of the harmonic tremolo. Like, I don't know how much you know about harmonic tremolo, but the essentially a normal tremolo is like banded 20 hertz up to 20 kilohertz, and the waveform is the volume control basically, and it adjusts the full frequency range. But on a harmonic tremolo, you've got a separate waveform for the bass and the treble. And as they modulate separately, and this is what creates that kind of that harmonic tremolo effect. So I thought, wouldn't it be great if we could have like a square wave on the bass and whatever on the treble as well? So I just set out to do it really, and it took me a while, but yeah. Sketchy is a tremolo, harmonic tremolo, where you can draw your own waveform using a kind of 2D plotter using some knobs. And then I thought, well, if I'm digitizing the waveform bit, then I may as well digitize as much of the circuit as I can. I wanted to preserve the analog signal path though. So I managed to make it so that you can save presets and all that kind of business in there. So your volume, your tone, your speed and all that is all saved as a preset inside the pedal. But it's still an analog signal path running through it. It was a pain in the behind actually. It would have been much easier to make it digital, but I really wanted that analog sound as well.
Nice.
Yeah, in about a minute and a half, you described a really complex undertaking that ended up in a very, very user-friendly and fun and effective pedal.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, that's the hardest bit of the whole thing, especially like when you're a design engineer, is to try and consider the user, because you get used to how things work and how to do stuff, and it seems obvious to you because that's how you do it. But it's that bit where you're thinking about how somebody else who's never seen this before. A lot of the time, that's the hardest thing to do with these things is to try and take yourself back to that position, and then try and make it fun as well. Like, where's the fun? And it's difficult to see the fun. It's kind of like you can't see the woods for the trees when you've got all of these engineering principles knocking around and whatever. It's so it was a mammoth undertaking, absolutely. And I'm really, really happy to hear that you feel that way about it, because that was the goal really.
Yeah, I mean, it took a few minutes just to say, oh, that this control does this, but it is one of the most flexible trims that I think I've ever tried.
Yeah, and Tony's not so bright, so like that's a big compliment.
Hey, wait a minute.
No, Tony's actually one of the smartest people I know. Oh man, the bright. Well, I just thought of. I lost my place because I had to work a joke in there. Sorry. Anyways, yes, the tremolo aspect of this, I think I mentioned this to you, but for those who haven't listened to this episode, we took our 4 on the floor segment and we said, what else can we do with this? Because we love it. And we said, let's make actual episodes based on this. And the second one that we did was, so we had 4 different tremolos. They were what we would call utility tremolos, meaning they weren't based on an amp, a specific amp sound. They weren't like only harmonic. So it was a very usable, like gig-friendly. If I was going to have a tremolo for a lot of different kind of things, what would that be? And honestly, if we would have had that on the board, I think this would have like taken the cake.
I think so.
On it for sure.
Oh, wow.
And that was up against some really great tremolos, but this one it solved so many things that we were looking for, specifically the presets. That to me, that seals the deal on this thing.
Yeah, they were designed by Let's Play All, the YouTube channel Let's Play All, Matt there. I got in contact with him and said, like, because he demos all my pedals for me. He actually bought his first pedal, which was the Hungry Beaver. He bought it and he was like, do you mind if I make a video of this? I said, oh yeah, man, please do, yeah. And I loved watching him like play with it, because he did loads of different things with it that I hadn't thought of, and I thought, oh, this is really interesting now. And especially with the Sketchy, because again, the woods for the trees, kind of the design perspective, I wanted the utility aspect of it. So I've got my head deep in like function generators, oscilloscopes, transfer. Like I'm so deep in this thing that, again, to see the fun. So I thought the best thing to do here would just be to say to Matt, look, right, would you be able to do some presets for me? And he said, yeah, I'd love to, yeah. And then he made the video with the presets. And he did, again, this is the great thing about, you make the pedals and people always say, oh, I can't wait to see what you do with it. But genuinely, for me, like especially with this one, because I couldn't see the fun side of it, especially just have to get it over the line really and make sure that it didn't sound bad at any point. To watch that video and see some of the sounds he was getting out of it was just amazing. I was like, I didn't know it could do that. I didn't know it could sound like that. I wouldn't have even thought to do that,
Yeah.
So we got Matt to thank for that massively.
That's super cool, and I do think that's the mark of I know that you said you couldn't see how things would come out like that, but if you think about, there's a lot of products out there and platforms, and in the industry that I work in the advertising industry, it's like there's 2 platforms. One's Figma and the other one is DaVinci, that have completely disrupted all the other software platforms that we use to make things. And largely because they said, we're going to design we're going to put everything that we can do something with it, but we're not going to say this is what you do with it.
Yep.
And they exploded. And people respond so well to that. And specifically, like, for video editing, the DaVinci Resolve is like, it is a perfect example of that, where the community basically goes out and says, hey, everybody, this is how you use it. These are ways that I've used it. And it begs invention, and it begs community and collaboration and exploration and all the other Asians. And it's cool. I love it. So I think that is a mark of a great product, honestly, when you're not saying this is what this does. It's these are the things that you need to do what you need to do.
Yeah, I think so. And I think this is why when you're saying about utility tremolos, this is the second time I've heard that phrase used, and the first time was at that Leeds pedal show. Somebody was playing through Sketchy, and I was talking to him about it, and he said it's like a utility tremolo, and I was looking at, and I said, well, okay, and he said it does like what you want it to do cleanly. It's not putting its own thing on top of it or whatever. It's just doing what it's supposed to be doing and doing it well. And obviously for me, like that's the bit where I was digging deep. I was like, I wanted the frequencies to pass cleanly. I wanted everything to, eliminating the problems along the way. And that stamp of like tone, here's what it is. I thought, I didn't know what it was at any point, but to turn around to people and go, here's something new you can do. that you've never done before.
Yeah.
What you do with it, I don't know, but here it is, and then here's some examples as well of how you can do it. I think this is where like tone demos and stuff like that really come into their own, because I was never one for presets, but people like. It helps people engage with the thing, with the presets, because they go, oh, I see. Well, hang on, if I can just add somewhere between that one and that one, what do I need to change? It sparks curiosity as well, I think.
Yeah. And a little bit of forgiveness, too, because I think like the very first thing I did is I went all the way to 00 and 01 to put in the ones that I use in my band, because that's the thing about the tremolo is like, unless you have something with presets, that means you're using two different tremolo settings, you're either going to have two tremolo pedals or you're going to have to futz about with it while you're gigging, and nobody wants to do that. So then the way to get around that was through a multi-effects unit, like a HX Stomp or something.
Yeah.
And those were great, but you lose a little bit of that analogness that just feels a little bit more right sometimes. So I thought that was hugely valuable. And I appreciate you explaining. I didn't know this. I feel somewhat embarrassed to actually say this now. I never bothered to ask what is a harmonic tremolo. It's just... I just thought it was just basically it's just making it do a different thing, but you've very cleverly in the actual display, in the LED display, you have the harmonic or regular trem setting, and the way that you've decided to say which one is it, you've got a treble staff and a bass staff together. And you can either have them both on or just one. And you explained that. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. How did I not understand that? So thank you for sharing that, because that made that way more easy for me to understand.
And do you know what? Right, I'm going to push it even further, and I just I'm not going to say I'm going to blow your mind here, but this is good, right? This is juicy, yeah. So like, if you say you got like the bass bit and the treble bit, so each one of them is separated, the signal's separated by a filter. So the bass bit's a low pass, it lets all of the low frequencies past, and the treble bit's a high pass, it lets all the high frequencies past. Now, the point at which it starts to filter off, as in if you can think about it like a curve going across, the point, like the shelf, if you will, like the shelf there, the separation between the shelves on the treble and bass gives it that swooshy sound. So if you think about that cut now, so if you think plot them both in your head and you think about that cut, that gap that's missing. Now, if you imagine that this is oscillating backwards and forwards or up and down in volume, the peak at the bottom where these two meet now, the two shelves, is changing position. And so you get this kind of mid-swoopy kind of thing. And that's the swooshy sound on the harmonic tremolos. But as you move these two closer together, you get less swooshy and more of a solid tremolo sound. And so you can dial the swooshies, you can dial them in using that. And by changing the value of them two filters. And so on the harmonic tremolo setting on Sketchy, when you adjust the tone dial, all the way to the left is a large separation and all the way to the right is a small separation. And so you can make it sound more like vibey by turning the tone right the way down. And that presents a whole other issue in of itself as well in terms of that needs addressing.
Crazy. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, yeah, man. It took me ages to figure that out. Like,
yeah. So I'd add one question. This is a very, very, very specific question. Then we're going to learn more about this because, anyways. So for one of the Valentino songs called Boundaries, we have a very hard square tremolo on that. And I encourage you all to go listen to that. The Valentino's Boundaries. Not the radio edit one.
Shameless self-promotion.
You bet.
I was gonna say that's your band, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the sound of the whole of the song. We use it in and out. So the first thing I did on setting 00 was try to hit that waveform. And one of the things that I noticed, and I don't know if I'm just doing it wrong or not, but you have the through, which is essentially your mix, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking at that because I was still hearing a little bit of like my normal guitar signal coming through that.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being like chopped. And I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. Is that something that you designed into it, that it's supposed to do that, or am I doing it wrong?
No. If you turn the through right the way down, there's still a little bit of your guitar there, but the reason it's coming through is due to the chop. So when you go like I would say hard on, like when you go hard on and then hard off, like in that square wave configuration, essentially you hit 0 at the bottom end of it. And when you hit 0 with an analog tremolo, what happens is you get this really loud tick. And it goes like bam, and it hits the floor, and it makes this massive click. And it's one of the problems with like the Fender. You know, the Fender tremolos are ticking away. It's because it's grounding the signal out, and once you ground the signal like 0 current to the operational transconductance amplifier, which is the bit that's doing the up and down, it's the voltage controlled amplifier. If you send 0 to it, it flattens out and it just makes this massive bang. And so what I had to do was apply a bias to the bottom a little bit to make sure that even at the very bottom it doesn't quite hit 0. And so as a consequence, what's going to happen is you're still going to be able to hear some of your guitar coming through. It's not complete on, complete off. And I think the only way to do that is digitally.
Yeah.
I don't think with an analog tremolo you can do that actually.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't know how to do it.
That tracks, because I also have the Diamond tremolo, which is analog, and that one does that a little bit too. So I just want to make sure.
It's super specific, and it's one of them things that you learn along the way, because I didn't know how to build a tremolo. Like the Sketchy is designed completely from scratch. I didn't know like what I was doing. I was like, the voltage controlled amplifier, I designed the voltage controlled amplifiers that are in them, and so I didn't know that would happen. And so when I was trying to reduce the ticking, especially when you go to like full depth control, full mix, like full everything up like that, to get it to not tick, even the LEDs come into it as well, because when they switch off or when they switch on, this is why a lot of pedals click when you use the foot switch, because there's a massive change in current, and if you get a sudden change in current, it produces an audible tick through the audio path. And so yeah, it's the foot switch issue with a lot of pedals. The ticking is the same as the tremolo going hard off.
Yeah. That's wild. I'm Tony and I are just shaking our heads because you saying I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to design a tremolo. That's like saying I've seen cars, but I don't know how to make them. So here's the Porsche.
Oh man,
what?
thank you. Cheers.
That's really remarkable. So let's explore that a little bit. How does one come into designing something as not just, let's forget about, I don't want to just focus on the sound and what it does, but you've put this in an actual product, in a package, and an enclosure that is like nothing else out there. So how are you coming about doing all of this? What training, what school did you graduate from? What super wonder brain do you have that allows you to do this kind of thing?
The school of having like good mates, really. But no, in terms of the circuit design, I started out life as a radio engineer when I was about 11 or 12. I passed my City and Guilds, which is the kind of non-school qualifications, the practical qualifications to build radios and all that when I was about 12. And that old story about while all the other kids were out playing football, I was in doing piano lessons or whatever. I was in my bedroom trying to bounce signals off the atmosphere to talk to fellas in America to see if I could do it. Because I was well into radios and that. And so the electronic side of it, it's kind of what I do. That's my bread and butter. And then in terms of the enclosure, I think the design aspect of it was already done. Like you say, once you accept that you're plotting something in 2D using knobs, then it's etch sketch. Then everything that all the work most people have to do has already been done for you, because you know what it's going to look like in the end. And then the only question is, do you commit or do you not? And the answer has to be, yeah, okay, fully commit. So I knew what I wanted from the enclosure. I knew what I wanted from the packaging. And I've got a friend, Rich Tompkins, who runs Stompkins Pedals, and he's an automotive design engineer. And so he's able to produce like 3D CAD dials. So I just said to him, like, I sent him the 29 pedals Fleur for the LWR. I sent him that. I said, I want it in one of these boxes. I want it this size because it's got a screen in the middle, and the Etch a Sketch knob. I want you to clone that for me, but make it work on a rotary encoder. So do that. So. And then he took payment in the form of the Fleur. Like he just said, can I have one of these? I said yeah. And so we sorted that out.
Fleur's great. That's a great pedal.
It's fantastic. I love Jesse's designs and his work.
He's been on the show several times. People who are like, wait, what are you guys talking about? What's Fleur? Who is 29? Whatever. 29 pedals. Been on a couple times. Check our history. And you'll see them there. As a great dude, super smart dude.
Yeah, I mean, really, really great engineer. When I first got on Instagram, I was doing a lot of stuff in because I work in the nuclear industry, and I was doing a lot of stuff about that and like signal processing in that industry. And Jesse was one of the only people that would watch my streams.
You're a nuclear engineer?
Technician, yeah. So, sorry, my bad. No, nuclear technician, yeah. So
wow, okay,
yeah. So I do stuff there, and yeah. So I was doing some stuff about that. Sorry, I can't believe I said engineer. That's really bad. No, I'm not an engineer. Nuclear.
Well, you are an engineer. You're just maybe not nuclear engineer.
So I'm an audio engineer and a nuclear technician. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
Yeah. I'm not building these things.
Impressive.
These guys are.
So your day job is you work at a nuclear plant in a lab coat with goggles, right?
No. But something I play with similar toys. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
To some people. Yeah. So and I'm yeah. Okay. So. Yeah, Jesse was one of the only people anyway that would watch that stuff, and I just thought this guy's like a great. And then I got talking to him, and he's super knowledgeable, like as an audio engineer. You know when you can like smell your own, and I was just like, this guy's great, man. And so we ended up being really good friends. So he sent me the Fleur for me to play with, and I love his designs, I love his pedals, and so when it came to the Sketchy, I was just like, I want that enclosure, on my thing as well, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And if you are looking for more Guitar Knobs info on Jesse and 29 pedals, you can go to episode 201 and episode 331.
Yeah, and we were about due to have him back on too.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So how long did this take?
To design them, and like, okay, so from like first inception to the final product took about 2 years. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is no small undertaking, and that's also a huge gamble to say. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, I've got an overdrive circuit and I can buy a box full of Hammond enclosures and put them together as they come. And, you know, worst comes to worst, if I don't sell them, I've got some empty enclosures that I can sell to some people or whatever you want to do. This is a much higher investment ratio, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, there's the time bit, but if you're curious and sufficiently driven, then that tends not to matter that much. You just kind of saying like, can I do this? And that that takes you all the way basically. And then the financial thing and trying to figure it out. I mean, that's the big side of it, because you got to get custom. You know, the box that it comes in, the plastic
everything's
case.
Custom.
Yeah, everything's custom, man. So like you've got to do that, and the minimum order quantity just for that plastic box was 1,000. So I've got I had to get like 1,000 of them made, and you got to pay for that and whatever. But I mean, luckily I've got quite a steady demand for my other pedals for me to not really worry about it too much. I just wanted to see it done. I wanted to know that, like, can I do this? Can it be done? And the answer was yes. And I didn't know the answer was yes until I'd done it. That's awesome. I was so fearful the whole way through it that somebody else was going to do it, because it seemed so
the
obvious.
Worst.
Oh man, the more you put into it, the worse it got as well as I was going through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, I'll have to show you one of my early designs of this pedal. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Giphy, is it Giphy Systems? Is it? It's,
It's actually called Drawry.
It's a drawer, yes. Well, Sketchy is a trademark by Tomy, Tomi.
Yeah.
But they've got the trademark for a children's toy called Sketchy.
Yeah.
And like children's toys are tax exempt. So so I was like, I'll be okay here because it's a definitely separate classification.
Sure.
And they're probably not going to make the argument that it's counted because then they'd have to prove mine's a children's toy and whatever. And it's
And if they did that and successfully, then you'd be tax exempt. Bonus.
Yeah, or if they proved that their stuff wasn't, they'd have to pay taxes. I guess it swings and roundabouts. They're probably looking at me going, "Oh, you little rat." Like that.
Yes. I think. I mean, it's not. This thing's just incredible, and I'm in awe of what you made, and it's quite an accomplishment. If nothing else, I can imagine when you first saw the one, it was like, wow, I made this.
Yeah. I was too busy looking for things wrong with it, to be honest. It took me a good few months to like
Engineer
it.
it hard, I suppose.
Yeah, man, that's it. I was just all the time. I was so self-conscious about it, and it's just I didn't want anything really stupid, like just tripping up. So much work, over like even just like the output has got like 2 capacitors on a low pass filter on the output, and I must have spent a month and about a few £100 just. In fact, it was £300 every time I rolled the dice on them PCBs.
Jeez.
To get 5 of them made, and I must have done about 3 or 4 of them. So I must have spent about £1,000 just on 2 capacitors on the output.
Wow!
Just because I was so and it got silly. So in the end, I just that'll do, and then I knew I'd done that approach, and I couldn't face it.
Well, no, but that makes sense. I mean, it's like this is the kind of thing where we are, as a society, we are so much more informed on all of the things that maybe don't actually matter if we didn't know them. So I might be talking in circles a little bit. Because we know these things, we focus on the things that are maybe not as important to the greater outcome of the thing. And it's very easy for us to like point at those things and then say, oh, I'm going to negate how good this is because this little thing is a problem. But if I didn't know about it, it probably wouldn't even be a problem.
I think
there's logic in there. Just take a minute and let that all soak in.
You're so wise.
So wise. Who said that? I did.
Oh man.
I think my advice there is like don't build a modulation pedal unless you're prepared to include everything everybody else has ever done with modulation.
Right.
Because I think like the Sketchy, like it's not stereo, and it was the first thing somebody said like, oh, it's not stereo. It's like, yeah, man. And then somebody else is like, oh, can you control the speed with an expression pedal? Like, nah, mate. And then somebody else is like, oh, well, can I? You're like, nah, mate. No, but oh, well, this pedal does it. Yeah, I know it does.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so it becomes a problem because of the amount of awareness you've got of the thing. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right in that. Yeah.
Okay, he said it, not me, everybody.
Why don't we talk a little bit about some of the other pedals that you have?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
We'll start with the Scran.
The Scran, yes. What is a Scran for those of us who don't live on the block that you do?
I do like the fact that there is an HP control knob on the Scran.
Well, yeah, straightforward. Does it? I mean, famously, I didn't know like how famous Beans on Toast was in America at the time, and because I started following like loads of food people like Americans and always like trashing UK food. But I don't know if you ever had like cheesy beans on toast. Have you ever had that?
We see a lot of media about that kind of thing, and we'll say, like one of the first things I sent to Joe was Joe Halliday of Hello Sailor, everybody. Was this is the list of things that I want to do when I get there, and I think one of these things is on there. I'm going to pull up that list while you tell us about the scran.
Yeah, so a scran, like scran just means like really simple food that's delicious. And so, and the greatest expression of that for me was the cheesy beans on toast. Nobody is like, I had a friend from Chile, and she was, when I explained to her, she was like, where do I buy beans from? I'm like, they're in the tin. And she was like, no, you don't have beans in a tin. I was like, yeah, they're in a tin. She's like, are they in tomato sauce as well? I'm like, yeah, they are. Yeah, of course they are. How are you doing it? And she wanted dried beans so she could rehydrate and make, some whatever. And I was, yeah, we don't really do that here, actually. So we've got, these, but if you eat them, they're delicious. They're absolutely amazing. And we shove them on toast, and it's nice, easy food that's good. It's not good for you, but it's good for the soul, and that's what a scran is. It's just like, it's just a nice food that's quick and hits the spot, and it's delicious. So I felt like that my overdrive was like that. It's kind of quick. It's 6 knobs, so it's a bit of a pain to dial, but I thought, whatever you do with this thing, it's nice. It's a nice overdrive. It's just solid. It's I wanted it to be like British identified. I wanted people to know that it was from somewhere. It didn't have just some kind of like esoteric name like I don't know. I don't want to like say any names, because I don't want to be like bad mouthing anybody, but blue something or whatever, and you go, no, well, it's a blues breaker, but you don't know where it's from, you don't know who did it, it doesn't say anything about the people, so like, big old Union Jack on it and a big beans on toast, and you know where this thing's from. Yeah, and then the dials, like I thought I've never been one for like. Again, with the presets, I was so anti-presets. I was like, what does it matter whether you put like tone? Tone's a big word. I don't know what that means. So I just thought, it doesn't matter. So I put thick, soft toast, HP, cheese, and beans on it. The beans is actually means volume. That's slang for volume. Cheese, I don't know what that is. HP is actually a high pass filter, so I thought that was quite clever.
Yeah. The HP sauce, right?
HP sauce, yeah.
Brown sauce.
Yeah. Houses of Parliament sauce, yeah. Brown sauce, yeah.
Red sauce and brown sauce. I do know that.
Yeah, red flavor and brown flavor. Excellent. So we got, and then there's the thick dial, it's the thickness of the tone. I thought that was quite. So just a thick, soft toast, HP, cheese, and beans, great. And I made it. And I didn't know what it was again. And I sent it to Matt, and he was like, this thing is amazing for doing Oasis. And I thought, okay. And then he made the video with the preset, how to get the Oasis sound using this pedal. Right. And it became the Oasis pedal. And so now I'm a lad from, I know you don't know much about this, but Liverpool and Manchester don't like each other. So now I'm a lad from Liverpool selling a pedal that makes a Manchester band sound, which was come up with by a lad from down south. So that's even worse. Yeah. So it's like, so now I've got the Oasis pedal. So this year I've decided, because Oasis are getting back together, I'm going to revisit Scran and just make actually the Oasis pedal. So that's my new product coming out this evening. Actually, is the Scran V2. So I've gone, okay, you want the Oasis pedal? I'll rework it so it is like actually the Oasis pedal. Right. So like the ultimate Oasis pedal, I suppose.
Well, I cannot wait for that. That tickled my brain immediately.
Will you change the names of the knobs to?
I have done, yeah.
They can fight each other.
So it's got, so I've kept thick because like I couldn't think of a better way. Like it changes the thickness of the sound. It's basically a pre-gain bass control. It's like the bass on the Timmy. Like when you pull the bass out, it gets thinner. The tone gets thinner or whatever. But the gain, the structure of the gain gets tighter and smaller, kind of like Japanese motorbike rather than a Harley. Whereas when you turn the thick up, you're churning the bass over in the gain section more, and it thickens out the sound, kind of like how a fuzz works or whatever. So I kept thick. Gain 1, gain 2 now. You can figure out what they are. Cheese was a low pass again, so it was a treble control essentially. But again, you turn it. I didn't realize about the psychoacoustic thing of like the word treble tells people when you turn this, listen in this area, listen for this. Do you know what I mean? So I changed it to treble, yeah. And then volume beans is now, it just says volume instead because nobody knew what beans meant. So, yeah, I think it does matter, actually. massively what you call the knobs. But when I first went into this, I was like, being all rebellious and that. Well, just twist and listen, you know what I mean? Most people don't want to do that. Actually,
what was confusing for a second there, I'm trying to find it again now and doing a terrible job of it, but I actually had, maybe I can go back this way. When you were telling us about the Scran, there's an image of the Scran 2 that I was looking at.
Yeah.
There's one. Now I can't find it.
Oh, so that's on Guitar Pedal X.
Okay.
Stefan was at the Leeds Pedal Show, and he was like, "Oh yeah, really interested in this." So I just gave it him. I just said, "Yeah, there you go, do that."
Okay. Yeah, because you were talking about the different knobs names, and I was like, "Wait, that's not what I'm seeing. What are you talking about? What's going on here?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this is for the V2. So I've changed the knob names for the V2. Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Cool.
Now that all makes sense. And in the spirit of what you were talking about, I sent Joe a list, and it's called Madfrit 25. Okay, because that's that we're gonna have that week. So I said experiences. Please add any that I have not thought of. I said Premier League game, visit Reeves Electro, fish and chips, pajama sleepover at Downton Abbey.
Wow.
Get in a street fight, then become friends.
Yeah.
Hang out with Guy Ritchie. Feed the birds at St. Paul's Cathedral with my Toppins. And museum with old British stuff. Yorkshire pie. Develop a ruddy complexion.
Yeah, man. Sounds like you're coming up north, really.
Yeah. So that's what I sent him, and I'm pretty sure he just rolled his eyes and shook his head at me.
Most likely.
Yes.
How about the Hungry Beaver?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is my first pedal that I made. I was out on I was working on where was I? I just got back because I used to work as a musician on the ships. I just got back from somewhere anyway, and I was like, I'm going to build a pedal. I'm going to build this pedal. And I've been talking in the pub to some people, and I said I want to get that sound from the Time Solo. And one of the lads was like, hey, he uses a Big Muffin, like Dave Gilmore. I said, all right, John. So I've got a Big Muffin, and I built one, and then I was trying to make it sound like the Time Solo, and I was it sounds like the battery's dying. So I put a starve control on the Big Muff, but it's not a great mod actually, because you've got these two amplifiers on the input and the output, and then you've got this clipping section in the middle. And when you starve the voltage, you starve the input and the output amplifiers as well, which just makes the pedal really quiet and horrible. It's just not a great mod. I'm putting my flag on that one. So I just thought I figured it out anyway, how to put a starve control on it, and then I wanted some other stuff, and I kind of got there, but it sounded nothing like the Time Solo whatsoever. And then I took it out with my brother. We went on a ship somewhere. He said, "Do you want to come and do this gig?" I was like, "Yeah, but I'm doing this." And he said, "Bring it with you." So he took it out, and then he ended up messing with it, so it sounded like "Life in the Fast Lane" by the Eagles. He just kept playing that riff through it, and he was like, "Yeah, it's great that." And I was, is it the Eagles? I don't know. He just kept playing his riff through it, and I was like, mate, this is not what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
So then, like, somewhere in between them two things, the Hungry Beaver came out, which is a voltage starved muff. So I thought, starved muff for Hungry Beaver, let's go with that. So we got the Hungry Beaver, and yeah, it's basically a really tasty Big Muff with a starve control on it that doesn't. That isn't affecting the whole circuit. It's like a targeted starve to get some sounds out of it. And then it's got loads of volume on the output. Initially, like Jesse said, it was too loud. And I was like, if it's too loud, you're doing it wrong. Because I just designed it to go into like the input stage of a valve amp, to like crush against like V1 and just get that compression. And but I didn't realize at the time, because it was my first pedal, I didn't know that like pedal board culture and whatever. I didn't know that guitarists like to stack loads of pedals together and they put their modulations after their drives.
Mm-hmm.
And like, well, you put it in the effects loop surely, because you need to. And I didn't realize that everyone ran at Unity as well, because I'm used to like pushing pedals into the front end to get that compression, so it was a whole different like culture. And I've just, again, this is another one. I announced it last week. I've updated it now. So it's got a master volume control on it, and it's got the boost. internally instead. So it was a boost pedal, but now it's actually a standalone kind of fuzz pedal that you can run in line with all the other stuff for your pedal board. So it's a lot more pedal board friendly now. But it's just a really, really versatile kind of fuzz that's started out life as a big muff, but it's not anymore. Yeah,
kind of like your Germanium 4.
Yeah, man, that's it. It says it's definitely. I mean, the Germanium 4 says Big Muff on the front because they can do that, whereas I can't. That's their thing. And so I could say, oh yeah, it's like a Big Muff, and you can go with that, and you can use like Big Muff terms to describe aspects of it. Like you can say like the meat control on it is like an NYC voiced gain, and then the gravy is like a violet voiced gain. And yeah, okay, great. Yeah, and I do that myself to help people understand the thing. And it's got the Big Muff tone control, and it's got the standard like Jack Orman mids control on it. But yeah, it's not a Big Muff anymore.
No,
but it helps you understand it a little bit if you treat it like one. Yeah.
So your last pedal that we haven't touched is called the Clean Machine.
Oh yeah, man, that's Jesse loves that one, doesn't he? That's just like what is that? I don't know what that is. You know, it's just like I've no idea. It's basically like I just wanted something that. It's just like a signal handler. It's a little tool. It does what you tell it to do essentially. It just takes your guitar signal in, and then just I don't know. It runs it through a transformer, and then across some like a set of inductive coils, and then makes the guitar do stuff. I don't know what that is, mate. To be honest, it's just like people have called it a preamp.
That's probably the best way to think of it. Yeah.
For guitarists, yeah. Again, though, sound engineer, you say preamp. I'm expecting a line level output with a like a fairly high impedance, and it's not.
Yeah.
It's set for guitars. So I don't know. I think is it a boost? But you can use it as a boost. You can use it as like you can do fuzz with it. It's just odd, man. It's just an odd thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because to your point, yeah. What is this? Because when it says Clean Machine, you think, okay, this is gonna be something like a clean boost with some kind of dynamic to it.
That's it.
But then you reference an uncompressed TS. Tube Screamer, and then we've got essentially like a buffering. No, not a buff. That's a circuit gain control buff. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. What is this? But it says always on a natural guitar EQ.
Yeah.
So you've covered a lot of bases with this.
Yeah, this is the thing. So an uncompressed tube screamer, so the bass control, when you pull that right back, it removes some of the bass. Again, it's a pre-gain bass control, quite similar to the Scran in the way it handles the signal. And then it'll cut down to 720, which is the tube screamer. The sound of the tube screamer, that bass cut that it gives, some people like, some people don't. Yeah. Because it cuts the bass out. But the way it's doing that is by having a 720 cut before the gain stage. And so that will also do that, so you can pull the cut right the way back to 720. And so, and rather than having the clipping diodes like in a tube screamer, it's wide open. It doesn't clip anywhere close to the 0.7 volts that the tube screamer is going to clip to, or 1.4 peak to peak if you get techie. But
yeah,
it's a lot wider open feeling, and then the gain, you're sending that across a transformer. And then into another gain stage afterwards. So if you manage to like get it through that transformer onto the other gains, you'll get some overdrive kind of like sounds. But you can dial that back and not have that, and instead just get your signal on the magnetics, like the transformer and the inductors, and then it gives it a really interesting dynamic, because the whole goal with Scran and Clean Machine was to get your signal on the field effect. So this is like the way the thermionics, the valves work, is that you've got an electron and a detector at the back, and then your dynamics are playing in, and there's a 1/r² field effect essentially between the emission and the detection inside the thermionics, the valves. So I wanted to put the signal onto that path, onto that kind of that physics path, and so I'm just running the signal through a bunch of magnetic stuff. And hoping that and then giving you some EQ options that guitarists generally like, and then hoping that somewhere along the way you find a use for it.
Yeah.
But I still don't know. Like, it depends what you do with it. It's just a little toolbox, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and to be honest, I thought you were describing how the land speeder from Star Wars works, but we're back to pedals, right?
Oh, mate, this is my issue. Yeah, this is my main issue.
So, anyways, everyone, magnetic dynamics. All right.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
All right. Well, hey, it's so much fun talking to you, and I can't wait for new things that you create. And we will definitely have you back on to talk about those things. But for now, we are rounding third, as they say in the Great American Pastime, and heading home. Tony, what do we have now?
You know what we have, Todd.
Would you rather?
Yes.
Yes, that's what it is. Would you rather? This
Yes.
is a little game we like to play.
Or for him, would you rather?
Rather.
Rather.
Would you rather?
It sounds so posh when you do it.
So this week's Would You Rather is brought to us by our good friend Mike Nazionale.
Yes.
And he's terming this one a pedal you rather.
Yes.
So, because you own too many boutique pedals, you've upset the sorceress Udetta.
Okay. Udetta.
Udetta.
What?
You know an oud?
An oud?
Oud is a stringed instrument.
A medieval stringed instrument?
That's the one.
That is kind of like a mandolin?
Yeah, it looks like one.
But also like a guitar?
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyhow,
Udetta
is a sorceress, you
a
see.
sorceress.
And she has put a spell on you to turn you into a boss pedal for several hours. You're going to actually be transformed into a boss pedal.
Did anybody not think, I put a spell on you?
Screaming Jay
man.
Hawkins.
Crazy.
Yes. Unfortunately, though,
Yes.
you only have two boss pedal choices.
Yes.
The AC2.
So she's turning us
physically into a boss pedal.
A boss pedal.
So,
But only one of two.
one of two.
Which is cruel.
Yes. Well, she's she's a sorceress, and
She's a
you've
sorceress.
upset her.
Yes.
You see. So the first one is an AC2 acoustic simulator.
Ooh. Ood.
Yeah, ood indeed.
Okay.
The second choice is a PS2 pitch shifter.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm literally looking at one of them right now going, like, when can I say PS2?
Not PlayStation.
Yes.
So, would you rather be an acoustic simulator for several hours, or would you rather be a pitch shifter?
PS2.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, there's a
There's a little
caveat.
Yes, and now there's a bonus points that are going to be awarded.
Yeah.
Where you can name the guitarist whose pedal board you'll be Tour Gear Design patch cabled into. You
Okay.
see.
I got it.
So,
I got this, man.
you got this one?
I got it, dude.
You got it?
But you're going first. Go ahead, Tony. Then we'll check in with Mark, and I'll wrap it up.
So I guess the choices here would be to, and depending on whose pedal board you're going to go on, you'll either make them very happy or maybe not so happy.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I don't really like the acoustic simulator pedal.
Really?
I don't really. I mean, I don't think it sounds like an acoustic guitar. I mean, it's okay, maybe. But I think I'm going to choose that one.
Okay.
And then
The pitch shifter?
No, the
No,
acoustic
the
simulator.
Acoustic simulator.
Because I want to ruin someone's day. Now the question is, whose day will I ruin?
Oh, you're going to ruin someone's day.
Yeah, because I'm going to be on their pedal board.
Ooh, golly. That's a good idea.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Just you're paying it forward in a bad way.
yes.
That's a cure. Okay, I'd looked at it the other way.
Yeah, I see what you're
Okay.
saying. I'm going on Dave Grohl's pedal board.
What?
Dave Grohl. I'm going to ruin Dave Grohl's day just in honor of you, Todd.
Okay.
Since you have such a love-hate relationship with Dave Grohl.
I don't.
Yeah,
But
you don't like him.
yeah.
I'm told.
That's not
So I'm
that's not
told.
real at all.
Yeah.
This is made upness.
I don't know
Okay.
if it's made up. So yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Let's see. Marc, go.
So hang on. So are we saying what pedal we want to be, and then whose board we want to be on, or was it which one do you want to be, and then right, okay. I thought it was like whose pedal board both of these pedals are on.
No.
Okay.
So once you choose, now you have to make the distinction. Do you want to ruin someone's day, or make someone's day even better?
Lad, if you're putting a PS2, I'm going for the PS2, and anybody who's got a PS2 on the board is having a good day. So it doesn't matter. But I will say PS2, and then I'll say, who does everyone hate in Guitar World? Like, just like universally hated, because I don't want the prices to go up on them. So if I say PS2 John Mayer now, if this breaks, it's going to cost me a fortune to replace a new to get another one, right? But if I say PS2 and then the lad from Sleep Token or something, like whoever, I don't know who people hate, right? But if I say in, then maybe like it's going to be cheap. Maybe it'll go down in value.
And then But everybody universally loves him too. It's hard to say that there's any one guitarist that everyone universally hates. Let's not go hate route.
Yeah.
That's
But I need the price to come down on him, actually.
Right.
So
okay.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna go pitch shifter, and then I'm just gonna say I would love to hear somebody like it's gonna sound really bad. Sorry, I'd love to hear somebody like John Mayer, or somebody really pushing the boundaries of their genre of music and delivering that for a lot of people. I'd love to hear somebody like that use something like this so I could figure out what I'm gonna do with it next, maybe as well.
Yeah,
because it's so good. It's amazing.
All right, Todd.
Well, I'm gonna go with the acoustic simulator. And I know someone that I think probably could make it sound pretty amazing. Troy Van Leeuwen. I'm going to put it on his board because he already does a lot of pitch shifty stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the neat things about the acoustic simulator is that it does, I'm thinking the 12-string function on it with like his like whammy. Like, if he hit that with the whammy, why not? Why not make that sound?
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
Nice.
I'm going to make it useful. Yes.
All right.
Innovator.
Yeah. Well, dude, Mike Nacional, thank you so much for that one. Tony re-engineered a little bit, as you often know happens, and unfortunately, he's okay with that. He's not going to send a bunch of goons after us.
I don't like the goons.
No.
Especially the ones from Lancashire.
All those big cars parked out in front of that big pink fountain in front of his house. We need them to stay there. Anyways, all right. We are going to thank a few people. Then we're going to say goodbye to our friend Marc.
All right. That's right, Todd, because at this point of the show is a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producers.
Yes.
Now, an executive producer helps make this show possible. How do you become one? Quite easy. Head over to patreon.com/the Guitar Knobs and check out a couple different levels in which you can participate. Become a sponsor, a friend, a hero of the podcast.
Yes.
Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win great stuff.
We just gave away a pedal.
That's right.
Last week.
This we did.
Or something like that.
But in addition to all that stuff, there's
Yes.
one thing more. What would that be?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Oh,
Jared. Yes, he's back.
Okay. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to read these folks' names. So special thanks to these executive producers: Anthony Lathrop, Brett Hogarth, Cameron Pampas, Darren Gregory, Don Kloss, Elad Mizrahi, James Bell, James White, John Esterly from Rare Buzzer Effects, John Sebastian, John Helverson, all the Johns, Justin Jones, Ken Sayers, Michael Senchuk, Mike Davenport, Owen Eads, Plutone, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology, what? Richard Kendall, Rick Calhoun, Rusty Sneeden, Stefan Lamb, Tom Barazin, Trevor Ellenberg, Trevor Gunberg, and Vader in Pedals.
Yes.
But wait, Todd, there's more because
I knew you were going to say that.
there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our Grand Poobahs. These are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, the A number ones, and they wear a fez on their head whilst listening to the podcast. So special thanks to these Grand Poobahs. Anthony Gemalero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Ryan Robinson, Cody Foster, David Kaminga.
Are you trying to hold like a fart in right there or something? What's going on?
David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Gregory Randall, Hex Matos, John Williams, Martin Cliff, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Micah Nazionale, Moon Guitars, Pedro Vasquez, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, James Pennington, Zach Oswald from Brandon Wine Pickups, Jonathan Labate from M2 Labs, and Ty Barnes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so very much. We cannot do this show without the help of our supporters. And if you want to help us out even more, we won't say no. In fact, we'll say yes with big sloppy kisses and big giant bear hugs. So please consider helping to support our show like these fine people do.
Absolutely.
All right. SoundLad Liverpool, it has been an absolute pleasure and a delight having you on the show.
Cheers, that's lovely to be here.
You are welcome anytime you have something that you need to share with the rest of the guitar universe. And where can people go see what you make?
Well, I'm hoping to get to a few more shows now. I kind of got the bug there with the Leeds one. But otherwise, it's just Instagram at SoundLad Liverpool or the website www.soundladliverpool.co.uk. And that's it.
Perfect. If you are excited about the Sketchy, consider making the shipping a little bit easier on yourself and maybe grab one of the other pedals too, huh? How about that?
That makes sense.
All right, Tony, where can people go get the things that you make?
Very simple. Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out the stuff that I do. What do? I make custom pick guards for guitars. How do you get one? Shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. I will make something very special for you. It's your opportunity to make your guitar even more yours.
That is correct. You can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. I feel like every time we say that, I get somebody new who throws them the hello, how are you? Like the show. This is what I'm playing. So I'm going to continue to say that. Let's see.
Maybe send us Would You Rather.
We love Would You Rather.
Send us your 4 on the floor pedal board.
Yeah, because
let us know.
We can't make Bacon Crouch and
Nazionale
do all the work here.
All the heavy lifting, those guys.
Other than that, well, we're just looking forward to the next one. We have lots of great things coming up and lots of great news, so we're going to let you go now. Have a fantastic guitar week and subscribe!
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
What?
I'm too loud.
Tony's complaining. He's too loud.
I'm too loud.
I've been complaining about that for ages.
Oh, please. Which one am I?
Man, I'm really hoping this guy doesn't have... Oh, hey!
How we doing? You all right?
You're number 2.
I'm number 2.
Yes. Just hey,
Thank you.
By the way, over there, does number 1 and number 2 mean the same thing that it does here?
As in nipping off for the loo.
Yeah, like number 1 would be a slash, and number 2 would be a
Dropping a deuce.
Dropping a deuce. Go ahead, lads. Yeah, nailed it. Yeah, come for a. Basically, like, it's, do you know how expensive it is to look this bad? Kind of attitude, yeah.
Tony, you're familiar with that.
Yes, I do. I resemble that remark.
He's a YouTuber. He's the best guy with the captain hat. You have to have seen this guy.
A bass guy, bass influencer.
Satko, Danny Satko, or something like that.
Sapko with a P, Sapko.
Yeah.
She was like, we're moving, so we had to move to somewhere nicer, and so now we're in with the hairdressers, and
nice.
It's kind of nice because and the tradies as well. So you kind of know who lives on your street because they've all got a van parked outside their house with the name on it.
Nice.
And you know what they do for a living. Oh, there's Johnny's a plaster. Yeah.
By the way, what are their names? Do you mind sharing that?
Rupert and Edward. I think he's the only lad in Liverpool called Rupert, to be honest.
Thanks, Dad.
He's gonna be some big thug. What's his real name? Rupert, but don't call him that.
Whatever you do, don't call him Rupert.
Okay, enough of this funny business, you boobs. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.